Filtration is the first, oh my God. Glomerular filtration is the first step in urine formation and occurs in the renal corpuscle. So this is where we have our glomerulus and Bowman's capsule that form this corpuscle, and water and small solutes can filter through the glomerular capillaries into the Bowman's capsule. So they're supplied by our afferent arteriole, which brings blood into this network of capillaries, and exit via the efferent arteriole. So because of the size of these channels in which the solutes and water must pass, large proteins and blood cells, they're too large, so they'll get stuck in the network and stay in the bloodstream. So the principal form of filtration begins with this passing of the fenestrated epithelium. So we'll have water and small solutes that can come through this first layer of epithelium, passing into the basement membrane of the Bowman's capsule and through filtration slits between podocytes, entering the tubular space in the Bowman's capsule. So this often allows water, glucose, ions, amino acids, and urea to pass, but prevents proteins and blood cells from being filtered. This actual process of filtration is governed by three pressures. The first of which is the glomerular hydrostatic pressure. This is the strongest force, and it's the blood pressure inside the glomerular capillaries. This will push solutes out of the capillary into the Bowman's capsule and promote filtration. And that's oftentimes going to be your strongest pressure, and it is typically 55 millimeters of mercury. The second pressure is our capsular or Bowman's capsule hydrostatic pressure. So it's another form of hydrostatic pressure, but in the opposite direction. And it's created by the filtrate inside the Bowman's capsule that exert an osmotic or hydrostatic, pressure to force fluid back into the capillary network and prevent filtration. And that's typically going to be about 15 millimeters of mercury, so much less than the glomerular hydrostatic, similar process though. And finally, we'll have the blood colloid osmotic pressure. And it's also called the plasma oncotic pressure. And it's essentially the proteins in the plasma like albumin or any other large solutes like that can't cross the barrier, the principal filtration barrier, will attract water back into the network of capillaries. Another opposite force. But it is not nearly as strong as it's an osmotic pressure or oncotic. Oncotic. It's kind of goes both ways because it's pulling water back in, but not nearly as strong as our hydrostatic pressure, and is typically 33 millimeters of mercury. So generally speaking, we would use these forces to determine our net filtration pressure, so the ability for our network of capillaries to filter, to create filtrate, and that's determined through an equation. And generally speaking, it would be our glomerular hydrostatic. I'll stretch this out so we can see it better. Subtract our capsular hydrostatic plus colloid oncotic. Oops, net filtration. So you can see essentially what we're doing is taking into account the vector or the direction of the force to get the net pressure. We have hydrostatic out, thinking of it as positive, it's supporting filtration, and then the combined opposite forces, capsular hydrostatic, colloid oncotic, opposite direction, and we're subtracting it because the opposite direction from the glomerular hydrostatic to get the net filtration, which is typically going to be 10 millimeters of mercury.